New York never truly slept. It only pretended to. At 3 a.m, when lights dimmed and traffic slowed, the city revealed its real face. The one built from whispered deals, broken dreams, and blood quietly washed into sewer drains. Rain fell in thin needles, striking concrete rooftops with soft, endless tapping. On top of an abandoned courthouse in Hell's Kitchen, a man stood perfectly still. Frank Castle. The world believed he was dead. 2 years earlier, a warehouse explosion had erased him from every database. Burned bodies, collapsed steel, no survivors. The authorities had closed the file. Criminals had celebrated. Some even toasted to his memory. They were wrong. Frank Castle did not die in that fire. He was reborn in it. His black coat clung to his body, soaked by rain. The white skull on his chest looked like a ghost in the darkness. His face was harder now, sharper lines, deeper scars. His eyes no longer searched for peace. They searched for truth. He watched the street below through a scope. Across the road, a luxury restaurant glowed with warm light. Inside, men laughed, drank wine, and discussed numbers that represented suffering. Russian Bratva leaders, Mexican cartel envoys, a private security firm acting as middlemen, an arms deal. Frank exhaled slowly. "You never learn," he whispered. Chapter 1. Ghosts Don't Stay Dead. The first shot shattered the restaurant window. Glass exploded inward like frozen rain. A man screamed before the sound even reached him. Frank moved. He dropped from the rooftop, rolled behind a delivery truck, and advanced like a shadow slipping between breaths. Inside, panic ruled. People ran. Tables flipped. Guns were drawn too late. Frank entered through the smoke. His movements were precise. Not angry. Not rushed. Calculated. 2 guards fell before they understood what was happening. A third fired wildly. Frank disarmed him with a brutal strike and slammed him into a wall. He leaned close. "Who's running this deal?" The man spat blood and laughed. "You're dead." Frank broke his arm. The man screamed. "Who?" "Elias Corrigan." Frank froze for half a second. That name again. He knocked the man unconscious and disappeared before police sirens arrived. Chapter 2. The man behind the curtain. Elias Corrigan. Public image. Billionaire philanthropist. Tech investor. Political donor. Owner of hospitals, schools, and housing projects. Secret reality. Architect of New York's criminal bloodstream. Weapons. Human trafficking. Data manipulation. Judicial bribery. Corporate assassinations disguised as accidents. Frank had been chasing shadows of this name for years. But now, it was stepping into the light. Frank retreated to his hideout, an underground subway tunnel sealed decades ago. Maps covered the walls. Photos. Names. Red lines connecting faces like veins. Corrigan's picture sat in the center. Frank stared at it. "You think you're untouchable," he muttered. "You're not." Chapter 3. A girl with fire in her eyes. Maya Reyes did not look like a criminal. She looked like a college student. Hoodie, messy hair, tired eyes. But she had hacked 3 government servers before her 19th birthday. And now, she was being hunted. She ran through back alleys, breath burning, footsteps behind her. She turned a corner and stopped. A man stood there. Tall, black coat, skull emblem. Her heart nearly stopped. You're not real," she whispered. Frank stepped aside. "Keep running," he said. She shook her head. "They'll kill me." "They'll try," he replied. "Move." She followed him into darkness. Chapter 4. Truth is more dangerous than bullets. Inside Frank's hideout, Maya stared at the walls in shock. "You're planning a war." "No," Frank said. "I'm ending one." She opened her laptop. "I have Corrigan's system, his payments, his judges, his police captains, his senators." Frank looked at her. "Why haven't you released it?" "Because I wanted to live." Silence. Then Frank said quietly, "You won't live if you don't." She swallowed. "Help me?" He nodded. Chapter 5. The first crack. Maya released the first leak. 1 judge. 1 payment. 1 video. The city trembled. News channels exploded. Protests began. And Corrigan noticed. In a glass tower overlooking Manhattan, Elias Corrigan watched the news with calm eyes. "Find her," he said softly. "And find Castle." Chapter 6. A Message from Hell. Frank returned to the courthouse rooftop. A drone waited for him. It projected a hologram. Corrigan's face appeared. "You should have stayed dead, Frank." Frank stared without blinking. "You killed my family once," Corrigan continued. "Now I'll erase your purpose." Frank whispered, "You don't even remember their names." Corrigan smiled. "That's the difference between us." The drone exploded. Frank did not move. Chapter 7. Blood and Data. The city became a battlefield. Maya leaked more files. Frank destroyed warehouses. Every night, criminals vanished. Every morning, new truths surfaced. The system began to bleed. People argued. He's a murderer. He's justice. Frank did not care. He only moved forward. Chapter 8. The Church of Broken Souls. Corrigan chose a place. An abandoned cathedral. He waited alone. Frank entered. Rain fell through broken glass. Corrigan clapped slowly. "You became exactly what I predicted." Frank raised his gun. "You became exactly what you are." They fought, not with guns, with fists, rage, years of buried pain. Corrigan fell. Frank stood over him, gun shaking. Maya's voice echoed in his mind. "If you kill him, he becomes a legend." Frank lowered the gun. Police sirens approached. Corrigan laughed weakly. "You lost." Frank whispered, "No, you did." Chapter 9. A Different Ending. Corrigan was arrested, exposed, stripped of power. The city changed, not perfectly, but differently. Maya watched the sunrise from a rooftop. "Did we win?" Frank looked at the horizon. "We reminded them they can lose." Chapter 10. The Punisher's New Shadow. Frank disappeared again, but his symbol appeared everywhere. On walls, on flags, on hope. Voiceover. The Punisher didn't end crime. He ended silence. Before Frank Castle became the Punisher, he was just a man who believed in rules. He believed in laws. He believed in courts. He believed in badges. He believed that good always defeated evil in the end. He was wrong. Frank grew up in a small Brooklyn apartment with peeling walls and a kitchen that always smelled like coffee and bread. His father was a dock worker. His mother stitched clothes late into the night. They taught him two things: work hard, stay honest. Frank followed both. He joined the Marines not because he loved war, but because he believed in protection. He believed a man should stand between danger and innocent people. He became a legend among soldiers, not because he was fearless, because he never abandoned anyone. But war has a way of stealing parts of the soul quietly. By the time Frank returned home, something inside him had already begun to fracture. Still, he married Maria. Still, he laughed. Still, he dreamed. Until the park. Chapter 12. The Day Everything Died. It was supposed to be a normal day. Frank, Maria, and their two children sat in Central Park. Sandwiches, smiles, sunlight, then gunshots. They were not meant for Frank. They were meant for someone else. But bullets do not care about intentions. Frank watched his daughter fall first, then his son, then Maria. Blood on grass, screams, chaos. Frank tried to hold them, but life does not wait. The shooters escaped. The police called it an unfortunate accident. The courts buried it under paperwork. Frank buried his family under stone. That day, Frank Castle died. Chapter 13. Birth of the Punisher. He waited. He trusted the system. He begged the system. He followed every rule. And the system betrayed him. Witnesses disappeared. Evidence vanished. Lawyers lied. The killers walked free. Frank understood something then. Justice was not blind. It was bought. That night, he burned his legal papers and picked up a gun. Chapter 14. Maya's Confession. Maya sat across from Frank in the tunnel hideout. She had watched his story on old news archives. She finally asked, "Do you ever forgive them?" Frank answered quietly, "No, I forgive myself for surviving." Maya swallowed. "My father worked for Corrigan." Frank looked up. He built surveillance systems for him. When he tried to leave, they called it a car accident. Maya's eyes burned. "I'm not doing this for fame. I'm doing it because monsters hide behind contracts." Frank nodded. "Then you're doing it right." Chapter 15, The City Fights Back. The second leak destroyed 3 corporations. The third leak exposed police commissioners. The fourth leak forced a senator to resign live on television. New York began to wake up. People marched. People shouted. People stopped being afraid. Corrigan's empire started cracking. And cracks always make monsters desperate. Chapter 16, Hunters Become Hunted. Corrigan sent mercenaries. Not criminals. Professionals. They attacked Frank's hideout at dawn. Explosions shook the tunnels. Maya ran. Frank fought. Bone against bone. Knife against steel. Blood against memory. Frank survived. But he knew Corrigan was no longer playing defense. He was declaring war. Chapter 17, A Broken Mirror. Frank looked at himself in a broken subway mirror. The skull on his chest stared back. He whispered, "Who are you protecting now?" For the first time, he did not know the answer. Chapter 18, Corrigan's Truth. Corrigan sat alone in his tower. He spoke to a voice recorder. "For every Frank Castle, there are